Hey, Doug Walker here. I just saw Finding Dory. Sadly, nobody else saw it with me this weekend. Oh, poor me. So, yeah, this is just going to be a review of my own. And before I talk about it, I should, talk about what I thought of the first one, Finding Nemo. I really like Finding Nemo. I thought it was imaginative. I thought it had great colors and good story and characters. If I had any gripes with it, I say the message was a little hammered on the head, but... there's a lot of Pixar movies are like that, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. So now we have this sequel. It's getting critical praise. Everybody loves it, and yeah, I really like it too. It starts off really kind of slow and kind of dull. I kind of feel like, oh, this is just Finding Nemo again, and there's a chase scene with a squid kind of early on, and I realize, yeah, this... kind of feel like just us in Finding Nemo. This isn't very interesting, but as soon as it kind of gets to this, aquarium, and she comes across this octopus, and I think most of you know, she's trying to find her parents. That's the plot of the film, and she's trying to remember things while doing it. And as soon as they get to this aquarium, and she comes across this octopus, you come across these seals, and all these other various characters. As soon as that happens, it gets good. It gets, like, really, really good. And kind of what I was saying before with the message of the first film, even though the message in this is, pretty spelled out and obvious, it's not... it's worked in better than I think the first film did. The first film, like the first 2 minutes, you know what the message is going to be. I mean, just immediately. With this one, it takes a little time. They sort of take the span of the movie to develop it, and then when they start repeating things over and over, it's like, oh, okay, like this is gonna be the message. But I don't know, it's a more clever message in my opinion, and obviously a big chunk of this movie is going to be about memory loss. The main character has short-term memory loss. And for someone who does not have a very good memory, I really look up to a character who is trying to go through the entire film, go through this adventure with a really bad memory. And I felt they kind of represented that, definitely that determination, but also the frustration of dealing with that. And... I like the way the characters kind of react off of her. I like that, they can get annoyed, but they also see, like, even through all this nonsense, like, she's not stopping and she's not giving up, and she's discovering what she can remember and can't remember, and why she remembers it. So there's also a nice mystery element to it as well, because in the first film, you gotta find Nemo, and that's fine. It works great. But there's also this mystery of where are her parents? Are they even still around? Is this, how is she going to find her way there and back? So I like that. I like incorporating all that. I also like that Nemo in this movie actually has a bigger role. Okay, not a big role, but a bigger role. Because in the first film, he was the goal. He was the person he had to get, and he's just kind of a generic little kid. I mean, he's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. And he does his little part. He throws the pebble in the, little mini aquarium there and stuff in the fish tank. That's fine. But in this one, I felt he had much more of a presence. I mean, he sounds older. I don't know if it's the same kid, but they make him sound a little older. So that's nice to know, like, he's grown up. And then he also kind of contributes. He helps his father out because they try to help find Dory, and he sort of says, well, you're trying to follow her, what would she do? Well, I would analyze the situation, I would look this over, and he's like, no, what would she do? And then they try to follow that, and even Dory starts to do that, and if I talk too much about that, I'll give a lot of stuff away, but I really like that element as well. And I think for a film that started off very much using phrases like, here we go again, or not this again, or last time. Like, I hate sequels that use those terms because it's just hammering in how much we're just doing the same film, but it really doesn't. It's the beginning of this film is going to make you think it's just going to be Finding Nemo again, and it's not. It is definitely a different film, and it goes... I really like the idea, I know I said before, of going to the aquarium, because in the first film, like, you see the ocean, and it's grand, and it's beautiful, but I'm just thinking, like, well, we're gonna do that again. And granted, there are different parts of the ocean you can go to, but it's like, I felt like, we were just here. So when you go to something as different as an aquarium, which you would think would be more limiting, because you're just kind of stuck in one spot, and the ocean, but they make it interesting and they make it funny, and they sort of do little satires of like aquariums and what it's like for, something that was in the wild to suddenly be entrapped, and the pros and cons of it. It's not a big anti-environmental or pro-environmental. It's just funny. It's just, this is a funny outlook on it. Once again, no villain. Thank God. I really respect these movies for doing that. In the first one, you think it's going to be the Willem Dafoe fish, but he's not. He's not a villain, and I just... not that I don't love villains. I love villains in movies, especially Disney films, but there is kind of this sense, particularly with Pixar, I felt sometimes, where they would just kind of throw in a bad guy because they need a bad guy, just make this person a villain. I don't know. And half the time they kind of suffer. Sometimes they're okay. Sid in Toy Story is a great villain. But even then, is he really a villain? He's just kind of a jerky kid, but I digress. So there's no real villain in this. It's just the mystery. It's just the adventure. And the one scene in particular, I knew this film was really working when I started to get, like, anxiety watching it. Like, I was so sucked in to her finding her family and where they are and what happened to them that there's two scenes in particular that really kind of stuck out to me. Like, man, I'm actually legitimately uncomfortable watching this, but it's supposed to be uncomfortable. One is when she gets lost in these pipes, and again, her memory is failing her, and she's panicking. She's trying to remember what to do, and I think this movie is so good at sort of showing you how to keep relaxed and calm down and come back to this center, this focus, that you can, sort of get to where you want to get. And there's a scene where she's lost in these pipes, and it's just a good panicky moment of just not knowing what to do and sort of jumping the gun and getting concerned, and things are getting worse and worse. So that's very well done. But the really well done, like, I was like, man, this is a strong moment, is when she finally does find out what happened to her parents. And I won't give it away, but for those who have seen it, it's the scene with kind of like the double vision. That's the only thing I'll say. If you've seen this, you'll know what I'm talking about. And that scene just brought, like, it felt like a panic attack. I've never had a panic attack, but I get a feeling this is what they're like. Like, all these things are going on around you, whether good or bad, and you're just kind of helpless to do anything about it. And it's just this really well done scene. Like, I haven't really seen anything quite like that in a Pixar film, because you're suddenly going through a lot of story very quickly, but it's done so effectively. And it's just a really, really good emotional scene. And but that's not the only one. There's a lot of good emotional scenes in this movie, and they really legitimately work. And even the ending, like, I can't explain. There's just, all I can say is that there's this bizarre scene involving the song "What a Wonderful World," and it's not needed. You could have cut it, but it was just so strange and so enjoyably silly that you just kind of throw up your hands and say, I love this movie. This is a great movie. Is it better than the first one? That's hard to say, because it's like, it kind of depends on how it's proportioned, because the first film is probably told a little better, but I felt like there were a lot of times where it's like, okay, we're telling the story, we're moving it along, now we gotta pause to tell you what the message is again, and you have to have this boring moment. So with Finding Nemo, if I was to watch, I'd be watching it, then maybe fast forward the scene where they're in the whale, and then maybe fast forward the scene after they, when they're talking with the turtles about his son and stuff like that. Like, I'd probably skip past that stuff, but with this movie, like, I just fast forward maybe the first 10 minutes, and after that, it's just all incredibly entertaining, and I wouldn't skip any of it. It's just all really, really good. So it kind of depends. I think because I like that rush, I like the continuation of the enjoyment, I probably like this one a little better. But yeah, it's a solid film, and it's really, really good, and all the criticisms that people are saying about being so great, and it's a wonderful sequel, they're right. It is really legitimately good. Just like I said, don't be fooled by the opening. You might think the opening's fine, and there's really not anything, like, wrong with it. It's just, oh, Dory's forgetting things. Oh, she's repeating things. Oh, they're talking about last time. And oh, another thing is chasing him. I did realize the chase is in the water. I mean, I was thinking back to the first film too. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of just them swimming around, this thing chasing them. Sometimes they go through something, they swirl around. That's always kind of it, you know, that's never been like the highlight of the film. So when you see that first big chase scene, I was like, oh, is this gonna be the movie? You know, I mean, okay, but it does go somewhere different and somewhere interesting. And it just stays in that realm, but it keeps bringing up new things too. It's good. It's a good film. So I would definitely recommend it. I don't know why it's PG. We're getting in that stupid thing again where it's like, oh, we got to throw in a swear word or some kind of innuendo to be like, you know, oh, we got the PG rating. So, see, kids, you know, you don't have to think this is dorky or anything because we have the PG, so we said something adult. And Pixar was like one of those pioneers to bring that back, like the G film that's cool to see. And now we're going back to this dumb thing again, where it's like there is no reason for it to be PG. There's no reason for Frozen to be PG. There's no reason for Inside Out to be PG. I'm sure if you looked really deep, you could find some stupid bullshit, but there's really no reason. All your kids are gonna see it. They're gonna love it. I almost think it's like a legal thing, like just to stop somebody from suing, like, hey, you said this was for everybody and I don't like the word no. I'm anti-no because that makes my kid feel bad. I never say no to my kid. I don't know, some sort of stupid bullshit like that. But it's a G film. I mean, just assume it's a G film. I don't know why they put the P in front of it. But it's really good. I think kids can see it and get a lot of good laughs. Adults can see it and get a good message and good comedy. And, you know, there's a lot of things I think will hit them just as much as for the kids. That's a great Pixar Disney film should. So definitely go check it out. I think you're really going to have a fun time with it. So that's about it. I'll talk to you later.